Michelangelo once said he saw the angel in the marble and carved until he set him free. That's the Renaissance in a nutshell, not creating from nothing, but revealing the brilliance already hidden within. For centuries, Europe had forgotten the wisdom of Greece and Rome, locked away in dusty manuscripts and distant libraries. The Renaissance was a rebirth, a cultural awakening that began in the 14th century, pulling ancient knowledge back into the light. Artists, scholars, and thinkers dusted off old ideas and saw humanity as a worthy subject of study. They didn't abandon faith, but they celebrated human potential and curiosity. When Michelangelo sculpted David, he wasn't just making art. He was channeling rediscovered principles of anatomy and proportion, creating something both divine and deeply human. David became a symbol of courage and the beauty possible when reason and skill meet curiosity. The Renaissance spirit was about rediscovery, reinvention, and the belief that we could understand our place in the cosmos. It was a time when the dormant seeds of knowledge finally blossomed. This awakening would reshape the world forever. At its core, the Renaissance was a cultural movement powered by humanism, a new focus on human achievement and creativity. Before, life was about enduring the world to reach heaven. Now, thinkers believed life on Earth was valuable and humans were capable of greatness. The heroes of this era weren't just saints, but poets, painters, scientists, and explorers. They looked back to Greece and Rome for inspiration, reviving ancient wisdom and building on it. Change was gradual, spreading as artists and scholars experimented and inspired each other. The Renaissance was a feedback loop of innovation. Painters explored new techniques, scientists questioned old beliefs, writers delved into human emotion. Curiosity became the engine of progress, and asking why and how replaced blind acceptance. Humanity took the driver's seat, armed with reason and observation. The Renaissance declared that our lives and minds were worth exploring. It was a revolution in how we saw ourselves and our world. Why did the Renaissance ignite in Italy? Geography, history, and competition all played a part. Italy was the heart of the old Roman Empire. Ruins and reminders of past greatness were everywhere. Its city-states like Florence and Venice were crossroads of trade, bringing not just goods but also knowledge from the Byzantine and Islamic worlds. Unlike unified kingdoms, Italy was a patchwork of rival city-states, each competing for prestige. This rivalry fueled a demand for art and innovation. Cities and families commissioned grand works to show off their power. A wealthy merchant class like the Medici emerged, eager to spend on art, architecture, and learning. Their fortunes weren't tied to land, but to trade and banking, giving them the means to fund creativity. Patronage became a way to cement legacy and influence. Without this mix of history, geography, competition, and cash, the Renaissance might never have happened. Italy became the perfect incubator for a cultural explosion. The city-state's ambition and resources lit the fuse. The result was a rebirth that would echo across Europe. The Renaissance began where the past and future collided. The Medici family of Florence were the ultimate Renaissance power brokers. Rising from bankers to rulers, their real innovation was investing their wealth in culture. Cosimo de' Medici commissioned works from artists like Donatello and Brunelleschi, understanding that influence came from legacy, not just money. He didn't just fund art, he fostered relationships, giving creators freedom to experiment. Lorenzo the Magnificent, Cosimo's grandson, turned Florence into a cultural capital, supporting young talents like Michelangelo and philosophers translating Plato. The Medici court became a hub for artists, poets, and thinkers to share and debate new ideas. Their patronage shows that progress needs both brilliant minds and the resources to support them. Artists need marble and paint, scholars need books and time. The Medici provided the foundation for creativity to flourish. Their investments beautified Florence and secured their place in history. They proved that money could create a legacy of beauty and knowledge. Without their support, many Renaissance masterpieces might never have existed. The Medici turned wealth into a force for cultural transformation. Renaissance art changed everything by introducing linear perspective, a mathematical way to create depth on a flat surface. Before, medieval paintings looked flat, with size based on importance, not position. Filippo Brunelleschi demonstrated linear perspective in Florence, using a horizon line and vanishing point to make scenes look three-dimensional. This breakthrough let artists organize paintings rationally, turning them into believable windows into another world. Masaccio's The Holy Trinity was among the first to use this technique perfectly, making painted architecture seem real. Perspective gave artists control, guiding the viewer's eye and creating immersive experiences. But it was more than a trick. It reflected a new way of thinking. The individual observer's viewpoint mattered. Art became centered on human experience. Perspective reinforced the humanist idea that humanity was the measure of all things. Art was no longer just symbolic, it invited viewers to enter and explore. This fusion of art, math, and philosophy defined the Renaissance. The world became something to be understood, measured, and experienced. Perspective changed not just art, but how we see ourselves. Leonardo da Vinci was the ultimate Renaissance man, artist, inventor, scientist, and more. He saw no boundaries between art and science. Both were ways to understand the universe. Leonardo's notebooks overflowed with sketches of flying machines, tanks, and anatomical studies. He dissected corpses to study muscles and bones, making his art astonishingly lifelike. His scientific curiosity fueled his creativity. He saw patterns in nature, from tree branches to blood vessels. Painting the Mona Lisa wasn't just about technique, it was about understanding the muscles and emotions behind a smile. Leonardo trusted his own observations, testing ideas instead of accepting old wisdom. He believed the universe's secrets were written in the language of mathematics. His work reminds us that breakthroughs happen when curiosity crosses boundaries. Leonardo embodied the Renaissance spirit: relentless curiosity, direct observation, and a passion for discovery. He blurred the lines between disciplines, showing that knowledge is interconnected. His legacy is a testament to the power of looking closely and thinking boldly. Before the Renaissance, books were rare and expensive, copied by hand for the elite. Then came Johannes Gutenberg's printing press around 1450, a revolution in information. Movable type meant books could be mass-produced, making knowledge accessible to many. The first major printed book was the Bible, but soon, presses spread classical texts, scientific discoveries, and new ideas across Europe. The printing press was the internet of its time, slashing the cost of books and fueling a rise in literacy. Ideas could now travel at unprecedented speed, connecting thinkers and sparking debate. The press broke the church's monopoly on information, empowering people to question and learn. It created a more informed, independent public. Without the printing press, the Renaissance would have been a whisper. Instead, it became a roar. The press turned a local movement into a global transformation. For centuries, people believed Earth was the center of the universe, with everything revolving around us. The Renaissance shattered this view. Copernicus proposed a sun-centered or heliocentric model. Earth was just another planet in orbit. This idea was revolutionary, challenging both science and religious doctrine. Later, Kepler showed planets moved in ellipses, not perfect circles. Galileo, with his telescope, saw moons orbiting Jupiter and mountains on the moon, evidence for the new model. The church resisted, putting Galileo on trial, but the truth couldn't be silenced. The shift from geocentric to heliocentric thinking was a turning point. It taught us that understanding must be based on evidence, not comfort. The universe was bigger and our place in it smaller than we'd imagined. The Renaissance taught us to question, observe, and accept the humbling truth. The Renaissance didn't end in 1600. It rewrote our operating system, and we're still running on its code. Humanism, scientific inquiry, and individualism are the foundations of our modern world. Our politics, education, and even capitalism trace their roots to Renaissance ideals. The printing press was the first mass medium, paving the way for today's information age. The spirit of exploration that sent ships across oceans now sends probes to Mars. Every time you read, vote, or create, you're living the Renaissance legacy. History isn't just dates, it's the story of us, and the Renaissance was a brilliant chapter. The chain of innovation leads back to those Italian cities where people dared to look at the world anew. If this story excites you, keep exploring with us. There's a universe of knowledge still waiting to be discovered.